Right, here we are in garage, Shez Steve garage, or Shed 30 garage, whatever you want to call it. It's a mess again because I'm running in and out with me shingling things. Any road. Here's the tyres. Look, you can tell it's winter time, can't you? Because we've got Taryn's tyres here all in a stack, and then we've got my tyre here, look, and then these other tyres, these are going to a pal of mine in. Shout out to Kevin, Top Banana, Kevin Kim, Top Banana in Calgary, good pal of mine. He owns a supercharged Range Rover, so he's having my old tyres off Hastings. Anyway, what we've got here, these are mine, and I'm going to get thing out in a minute. In fact, I'll do it now while I'll leave you pointing at the tyres while I fish around the back here for me yardstick. Now, these tyres, so it says on the tin, are 275, 55, 20s. And all things being considered, they should fit. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to measure from, there's a little, I don't know if you can see here, there's a little, can you see, there's a little sort of a triangular mark here. So I'm just going, this is about, I'm going to point at it here. Actually, it'd be better if I point at the right thing, wouldn't it? Where are it? Here we are, look. So this triangular affair, I'm going to point here because when this is about the edge of your track limit, really, basically. This is about as wide as it gets, because this bit obviously very rarely contacts the ground unless you're in snow, I suppose. But so I'm just going to point this here at this little point. Where are we? There you go. It's hard to look through this camera. And if we look at this here on this side, you'll find that it's 9.5 inches. He says if he gets out at sunlight, he gets out at light. It's 9.5 inches, just look there. Point to point, from that thing to the other thing. These are 275, 50, 20s. Now, these are 255, 55, 20s. These are what was on my Range Rover. And I'm just going to do the same affair here on this pimple. Look, we're going to bring it across here, and we're 1/2 inch wider, which is weird because we meant to be more than that. If you think about it, we meant to be 255 to 275 is 20 mil, so it should be 3/4 inch. But it didn't look. It's bang on 1/2 inch. Anyway, that's that. But there is, I can't do it here because my stick won't, we've got nothing to measure the top with ever. But it's, this thing's a 31 inch tyre, and this thing is a 32 inch tyre. Now, what I'm going to tell you is that I've swapped rims here. I've gone to this Fast Wheels rim, which isn't really my favourite affair at all, because I don't like that ugly sort of American thing they've got going on in the middle, hubcap. But I can't do a great deal about it because inside they're all sort of, the board, they've obviously cast the wheel and then they bore your holes to suit the application. So you've 5x120 is what you need for the Land Rover, and a 72.6mm hub-centric bore. And that's because the wheels mount on the hub. They don't actually use the wheel nuts to sort of zip them up. Anyway, they've got this ugly affair on here, and it's very, well, it's not Defender, is it really? And what I'll do is I'm just going to whip one of the hubcaps, so I've got to whip them all off because I've got to feed some nuts in there. But I'm just going to whip them off, and I'll show you what they're like on the inside when we get one in. Anyway, let me do that, and then I'll show you. We'll resume as I'm sort of shoving this thing back on the wheel. I'm out of breath here because I've been pumping. It's an entirely different thing in England, is that? Any road. I'm out of breath because I've been jacking this Land Rover up, but I just wanted to point out to you. Can you see here? This back door's open. And I've got it. I've done the waggle trick, you know, the jiggle it a bit trick. You can't really see because I can't sort of get square on, but it's a fair angle. I'm just going underneath here. Now I've shut the door because I've caught him with my back, but I'll jiggle it a bit again, and I'll show you that. Even with the wheel in the air here, and you'll notice I've got 2 dods of wood here jacking it up because it won't lift it off the ground without them. But can you see door still open? It's got a fair angle as that. It's probably, I don't know, about, is it 10 degrees or something? It's hard to say. It's a lot, but it don't look a lot on camera. Anyway, that's it. That's how you do it. And you just jiggle a bit the door of it, and it stays where it is. Right, there you are. That's one on. Now notice these are fitted with, I'll tell you about this in a minute, but these are Nokian Hakkapeliitta 9 studded. We'll have a look at that in a second, but you'll see here what I mean about hub centric. So let me zoom in a bit and get my finger out of the way. Can you see that the hub aligns on these spigots here? And so this bore has to be the right size. And so not every sort of odd wheel or whatever will fit, because they really do have to be the right sort of thing. Now, you can tell here that what they've done is they've bored these holes to suit whatever PCD you've got going on, and they bore this centre out as well, and that's why they give you fancy hubcap. Now, they're not terrible as they are, but you won't try and keep dirt and stuff out of here, which is why they've got an hubcap. But of course, the little centre cap that we've got is only 50mm. 43mm, I think. And these chaps here are 72.6, so it's never going to fit in there, is it? So I try and keep some gunk out of here by putting that fairly ugly sort of a thing on. I had thought to spray these, but frankly I ran out of time and ran out of care, so that's what happened there. And so I'm going to run around for a year with ugly hubcaps, I think, and probably a bit longer than that, I guess, for the winter anyway. But you can see we've got fitted here 255. I'll zoom out a bit here. 275 55 R20s, which is all but 32 inches, 31.9 or something. They won't look quite as chunky as the chaps on the front there. They're not going to look as good as those, because they're half an inch bigger. But they're only half an inch bigger, aren't they? It is winter, so I suppose we've just got to make do, haven't we? And we'll do as we do. Anyway, what I'll do is I'll put these caps on, and I'll throw the other 3 on, and then I'll show you what they're like. Okay, Hakkapeliitta on what's called a directional tyre, and that's different than over there, which is the AT3s. They're non-directional. I don't know why I'm showing you that in dark, because I'll show you this one here on back that's not in dark. These are non-directional. You can see the pattern of the tyre is equal on both sides, and it doesn't matter whether it's sort of mounted that way or the other road, if you know what I mean. But that's different from the Hakkapeliittas, of course. And you can see here, all of the wheels have got the sort of outside on that side, and the mounting on the inside. But you can see here the tread pattern was a different road on this one here. Can you see? And that's because it's directional. The tyre's got to be on that wheel over there, and so he's got to be turned round. Turn it round, it'll fit on, and this bit goes to the front. This sort of is a bit like a tractor tyre, I suppose. And consequently, these go on the other side because they're mounted the other road, if you see what I mean. Now, I have had a chat to a chap to find out why these tyres are like a tractor tyre, and the point of them is as you drive over the snow, like water, it's meant to squeeze the snow out and allow these to sort of plant themselves on the thing. Now, Hakkapeliitta have 2 different types of wheel studs here. I don't know that we're going to be able to zoom in, but can you see the shape of that wheel stud is not like the shape of that wheel stud? And the reason for that is because these are your biting stud for travelling in a straight line. And these studs are specially for turning corners. So they're intended to enable better grip when you turn sideways. And that's quite important, obviously, in the snow, because it's you need the grip on the corners, don't we? And that's why these tread patterns are also angled a little bit like a tractor tyre, because when you turn the wheel, these actually become parallel or perpendicular to the direction of travel, and that helps you with the maximum bite. So generally all speaking, from what I found out in the past, the Hakkapelitas are considered the bee's knees of sort of winter tyres. And you can see that on these sort of tyres here, which are studded, what are these? These are studded on the I-Pikes, I think they are, on the Ankooks or something. They've got a very similar sort of thing going on here with a sort of almost a sort of identical sort of centre bit, if we look here. And then we've got these sort of tractor-like fins, and they've broken theirs up here with a bit, and they've got more siping, which probably makes them a little bit better. But the compound as well has something to do with the grip, because the very softer compound allows it to sort of nibble away at the ice, and that's why buying winter tyres is not just a simple matter of finding something with studs or finding something with more sipes, because the compound and the kind of material the tyres are made from, all of that, as well as the design and the minutiae of the tyre sort of orientation, and not orientation, but the tyre tread pattern is all very important, and anyway, the Finns reckon that they know all the things there are to know about winter snow driving, and I trust them. I've had these before. This, as I've said, this is my set off the Range Rover, and you can see they've been on a couple of seasons, and look how they don't appear worn at all, do they? Them, and they've still got plenty of. We'll zoom in. They've still got plenty of stud here. They've done several thousand miles, many miles, and the studs are still fairly fresh. Look, so and they're not chewed up or anything. They're pretty good. That's why we like Hakkapelitas, and that's I wasn't particularly upset when the Coopers turned out not to be a choice. But hey, on that wheel, there's the wheel on it. Doesn't look bad, does it, from a distance? Anyway, I'll mount the others and we'll get going. No.
Well, it's recording.
I'm getting abuse here because my garage isn't clean. And it isn't clean because I've been up a roof doing all roofy things. Now, I've employed the help of Taryn, the camera operator, again, who's currently supping on a rum and coke to make life a lot better. Thank you very much for coming and helping out. Now, I've turned this round because there's a couple of things that I see people do that's not good. It's bad practice, and I thought what I'd do is I'd just give you a few pointers and help you along the way. The first thing is these jacks are grand jacks, and you're better with ones that wheels, because as you pick the car up, it sort of leans to one side and it sucks the jack in a bit, and that's important. So having wheels helps. It's not mandatory. You don't have to have them. Many people have bottle jacks, and they're fine too. This is like an easier version. The other thing to remember if you have one of these trolley jacks is make sure they're heavy duty enough, a car one. And when you have these two bits of timber on the top, you see they sort of squeeze in the bottom here, and it's important that you just get them sort of, can you see they're just a bit of a nice fit there. And have them in the middle so you can feel with both fingers. And on the Defender there's a little spot underneath here. Taryn's going to have to, I don't know if you can just see that, Taryn, but if you just sort of crawl underneath here, you can see I'm pointing at this. Come back. You can see I'm pointing at this white bit. Well, that white bit there, that's your bit for jacking against. And don't jack on this because it's just plastic. So make sure you're under the right point, if you see what I'm saying. And as you put the jack under, just make sure, like physically, have a look to make sure you're under the right job. Or else the thing will slip off the jack and it'll be a bad day. Right, now I can start jacking it up. And the thing I wanted to tell you here that most people don't do, he says I'll remove that rum and coke out of the way before we have rum and coke and leaves on the floor. This is not mint, it's not a mojito or rum and coke with me. This is aspirin or something. Anyway, when you jack them up, it's important. I mean, I'm going to kneel on the floor, but it's better if you stood up, obviously. You've got to keep pumping like this, obviously, as you would to get the tyre. Keep your eye on these, because this is a sort of a bevel-shaped jacking point. Make sure that they don't roll, and you can see the jack starting to be pulled in already. And every time, if you just come back a bit, look at the wheels. Every time I jack up, you'll see the wheels go in a bit, and that's why the wheels are important. Now here's the thing that I wanted to mention to you. Many people go about leaving this handle like this while they take a wheel off. Don't do that, it's dangerous. If you catch it, you can spin the jack, you can pull the car off the jack, it's a nightmare. Make sure it goes right back up to where it is and that it's tight. Give it a twist to make sure that it's not going to come down on you. If you're doing out under the car, other than perhaps changing this tyre, make sure you block it. Jacks are dangerous things, I've seen lots of folk hurt on them. And it's easy to have good jack management, if that's what you want to call it. And that's all I wanted to say really about this. I'm going to whip this tyre off now, this wheel off, and I'll not record while I'm doing that because it'll go very noisy and the camera in the phone automatically corrects. But I'm just going to whip this off and then I'll show you a trick about getting the things back on as well. Right, I was going to just measure the tread depth on this. They've done 10,200 miles, these have. And I was just going to measure the difference between the new one, but for the life of me, I can't find my tread depth gauge, which is probably put somewhere very safe. Just never find it again. This is just a dot of oak. You can use a small crowbar or anything, but I'm going to try and help you out. You don't have to do this. I didn't use this on any of the other ones, but I'm going for the purposes of video and for educating or guiding or something, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to show you a bit of a trick. I used to use this this technique when I used to mount and put truck tyres on it there and a truck. Now, to move this tyre forwards, most people struggle. Only jack it up so it's off the ground a little bit, that way you don't have to pick it up so hard. Put it on against your legs like this and then just roll the tyre with your knees just underneath a little bit, that way you don't have to move it so far, you see. And then with your dotted wood or your crowbar or whatever, just put this under the side and under the front here and hold on to this bit, because what you'll do is you kind of, as you pull up here, you'll rotate the wheel forwards and you don't want to do that, so jam your knee against it and then just bar it in a little bit like that. And then when you get to this sort of spot, there's two mechanisms of dealing with it. Now you can see the studs are sort of out of line to the holes here, and so what you've got to do is you've got to try and line them up. Now a lot of people grab hold of the wheel and mess about, but the easiest way is just to spin the wheel like this, you see. You use a bit of wood or your crowbar or whatever it is, and just rotate the wheel a little bit until it's roughly in the right place. Again with the knee, and then use the thing and just pick the wheel up and it drops straight on. Look at that. No ranging, no bad back. Everything's in a good position here so that you're using your core and you're not going to give yourself a hernia or anything like that. And then, if you can, this will give me an hernia. Red box of fancy nuts. Now they've given me some fancy nuts here, I don't like them. These are the Land Rover ones, look, yeah. These usual chrome plated affairs that the chrome cap wears off on and generally causes all the drama under the sun. Or splits or welts or whatever. And these little things, look how small they are. But any road, they're the right thing. And they've got the boss on end. So these are what they've sent. So these are what's going on. Now, when you put these on, if you can stick your camera in here, Taryn, to see what we're up to, isn't she good? Now, before you let go with your knee here, make sure you get all of these nuts on, or at least 3 of them on, a little bit, or else this wheel will fall on your nose, or some other sort of precious parts of your body, and you'll be in a bit of a mess, and then you'll swear a lot, and there'll be much wailing and gnashing of teeth. It's very important to make sure that you get them on at least 2 or 3 threads, by hand. Because this gun, this fancy gun, and yours is probably the same if you get one, this electric super gun, I can't find any more nuts, this electric super gun will wind them on whether they're threaded right road or not. Those are valve body. Taryn's trying to help me in. I did count them, so there should be the right number somewhere along the line. There must be another one in a bag somewhere. There's only one missing, aren't there? There you are, look. There it is. So make sure you get them on at least 2 or 3 threads behind, because if you set about with the gun, it'll wind itself on and you'll be in a mess. Can you see how now I've let go of my knee? It started to move. You've got to make sure that hub's nicely centralised in here, or else you can put it on uneven. Now remember last time I told you that you could actually spin these, you should always spin the opposites up, and I do them all up, but this is always the way I've done it, at least 2, so that you don't sort of put the wheel on out of alignment. So there you go. Now you can see it's up nice and neat against the hub. It's all nice and steady, and now you can whip it all up with a gun to save all your time and heartache. Right, so these ugly hubcap things that are very American. You can just see them fast HD series for extra bar, or whatever it is that they do, and it's just like they're off a pickup truck. Anyway, these god-awful things stop mud and dust and debris and stuff getting in here. Now they come with a little fancy Fujiyama, whatchamacallit, nut here, look. An Allen key affair. Now, I'm a man that's got some fancy tools to do this up. And so I just nip that up a little touch like that. And then get me gun. Now, the reason I'm telling you this is not because yours are likely not to have these sorts of things, but these tools are great, but people get carried away with them. What they do is they just sort of bang them straight in and then they crush things, because they've got quite a lot of torque, these things have, especially this Milwaukee affair. So, no, that's the thing, right? Now, I didn't like that, but it's in, isn't it? Now, what I do is I nip them up here with this machine, only like a couple of clicks, and then what I do is I get the actual real thing, just go around with this now, and just make sure that they're sort of finger tight. There's a reason Allen keys are only this length, and that's usually because the nuts that they hold on can't take any more, or very rarely take any more sort of pressure, if you see what I mean. So I'm just going to go around them all now with a little thing, just to make sure that they're nice and German fit, nice and tight. That's probably politically incorrect, but whatever. I'm a politically incorrect person anyway. That's a blank. You see, that one's a bit of a tweak. And then I'll lower the car down, and I'll show you something about just lowering the car down so you don't damage yourself or anybody else with the car, for that matter. I'm probably teaching you all suck eggs here, because I can guarantee that you've all jacked your car up before, so I'm not wanting, I'm not wanting to tell everybody to do it wrong. That's not what I'm trying to do at all. I'm just trying to see if I can't offer some assistance to people to help them about the job a bit. Because I've had a couple of people that said they've never, this is, my videos are quite helpful because they want to do something on their own without going to the Steelers, but they've always been sort of a bit afraid of jumping in, and these videos, a couple of people have said, have been quite handy. Well, I like being quite handy, so I'm pleased they're useful. If they're not useful, I should stop, I suppose, wouldn't I? This is the last one, I think. Can't get the dude in the hole here and poking it right on the... And then what we'll do is we'll just let her all down now. And I'll show you how we go about... Taryn's walking backwards here, not paying any attention to where camera's going at all. You're probably looking at lights. Right, now most people grab hold of this knob and twist away, and then the car blumps on the floor and away you go. But make sure everything's clear. Have a look. Have you got any sockets or anything underneath, or wheel nuts or whatever it is? Mine are over there, look, all 5 of them. And then what you do, and this is what people don't normally do, you only twist gently because you want the thing to go down slowly. The reason for that is because you don't want it to rock off the jack. So mine, they're all different. Some people you have to push them down. This one you just untwist. So you untwist it slowly and it goes down slowly. If you untwisted it quickly, it will go down quickly. A slow and controlled manoeuvre is always better than getting your foot stuck under wheel and then yelping because you can't deck it up. Anyway, there you are. What does reckon? They're not bad, are they then? Shiny new boots on winter tyres on the thing. I think they look fairly alright, don't they? Even with them ridiculous hubcaps. Taryn is not paying Oh, yeah, Terry's nodding, in agreement. I will try and find out how much we've lost here. I'll try and find my tyre tread depth gauge, but I don't think they're hardly worn if you look at them. Look, they're worn nicely. There doesn't appear to be a lot of tread missing, even though they've been bounced off all that gravel up there, up on the Thebstone. Anyway, thanks very much for listening. I'm told you should like and subscribe the video. And I'm told you should do this because you get notifications of when there's a brand new exciting episode of Steve Talks Rubbish in his garage about a Defender. Anyway, you like and subscribe my video. I do appreciate it when you follow, because it makes me aware of the fact that people actually like what I'm doing rather than me just doing it for the fun of it. Anyway, thank you very much. We'll see you next time in Shedder's garage of many things.